What happens when an entire city suddenly begins to feel different? Simply because 7 Korean artists are on their way. Baltimore is about to find out. And tonight, the question is no longer whether BTS is coming. They are. BTS is scheduled to take the stage at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore on August 10th and 11th, 2026, as part of the highly anticipated Arirang World Tour. But something about the atmosphere surrounding this stop feels different. Long before the stadium lights go dark, ARMY are already gathering. Pre-concert events are appearing across the city. Fans are traveling from different places. Purple is beginning to become more than just a color in Baltimore. It is becoming a symbol of anticipation. And somewhere inside all of this excitement is one question that millions of fans may be asking themselves right now. What will happen when Jimin finally looks out from that stage and sees an entire Baltimore stadium filled with ARMY? Will he be able to hide his emotions? Will there be an unexpected moment between the members? Or could Baltimore become one of those nights that fans talk about for years? Welcome back to JIKOOK Lover. Before we go any further, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because in this story we are going beyond the headlines. We are going to look at why Baltimore is already changing ahead of BTS's arrival, why ARMY are turning the city into a celebration of Arirang, and why Jimin could become one of the most emotional focal points when the stadium finally goes dark. And stay until the end, because the most important part of this story may not happen before the concert. It may happen in the first few seconds after the lights go out. Imagine this. For hours, Baltimore has been alive. Fans are walking through the city. People are checking their tickets. Light sticks are being prepared. Photos are being taken. Friends are meeting. Strangers are becoming friends simply because they recognize the same purple color. But then, everything changes. The stadium lights begin to disappear. The conversations become quieter. Thousands of people suddenly realize that the moment they have waited for is finally here. And then, somewhere in the darkness, the first sound begins. That is when Baltimore will no longer feel like an ordinary American city. It will feel like an ARMY city. But before we reach that moment, we need to understand what is already happening around Baltimore. Because the excitement did not suddenly appear when BTS arrived at the stadium. It began much earlier. But on August 10th and 11th, the stadium will have a completely different soundtrack. Instead of the roar of a football crowd, thousands of fans will be singing BTS songs. Instead of team colors dominating the atmosphere, purple light will become one of the defining images of the night. And instead of athletes running onto the field, 7 global superstars will walk onto the stage. RM, Jin, SUGA, J-Hope, Jimin, V, Jungkook. For millions of people, these 7 names are not simply the names of musicians. They represent memories. They represent difficult moments that were survived. They represent friendships. They represent years of music. And for many ARMY, BTS became part of their lives during moments when they needed something to hold on to. That is why a BTS concert can never be measured simply by the size of the venue. Yes, the stadium is enormous. Yes, thousands of people will be inside. Yes, the production will be massive. But none of those numbers can explain what happens inside the heart of someone who has waited years to see BTS in person. And this is where Jimin's story becomes especially interesting. For years, fans have watched Jimin grow from a young performer into one of the world's most recognizable artists. They have watched him perform on massive stages. They have watched him experience moments of pressure. They have watched his individual artistic journey. So when Jimin stands in front of a stadium packed with ARMY, the emotion may not simply come from the crowd. It may come from everything that happened before that moment. The years, the sacrifices, the waiting, the uncertainty, the solo journeys, the distance, and finally, the reunion. That is one reason Arirang carries such emotional weight for many fans. For some people, this tour represents a new chapter. For others, it feels like coming home. And Baltimore is becoming one of the places where that feeling will be experienced. The city has already begun preparing for ARMY. According to Visit Baltimore, several fan-focused events are taking place around the concert dates, including ARMYland Baltimore from August 9th through August 11th, featuring merchandise, entertainment, games, crafts, and activities for fans. There is also an event called Arirang in Baltimore, taking place around the Baltimore concert dates, giving fans another opportunity to gather, celebrate, and connect before heading toward the stadium. And this is important, because when fans begin creating their own celebrations around a concert, something bigger than the concert itself is happening. A community is forming. People who have never met each other are suddenly talking. They exchange stories. They take photographs. They share food. They trade merchandise. They help one another find venues. They ask strangers whether they have their tickets. They remind each other to bring their light sticks. And perhaps most importantly, they understand each other. Imagine being a fan who travels hundreds or even thousands of miles for BTS. Perhaps your family does not understand why this concert matters so much. Perhaps your friends do not understand why you are counting the days. Perhaps someone asks you, why is this such a big deal? But then you arrive in Baltimore. You see the purple lights. You see another person wearing BTS merchandise. You smile. They smile back. And suddenly you realize, you are not alone. That is the power of ARMY, and Baltimore is beginning to experience it. There are fan gatherings. There are karaoke events. There are themed celebrations. There are people turning ordinary pre-concert hours into memories that may become just as meaningful as the concert itself. According to Visit Baltimore, an Arirang-related pre-concert karaoke event was also scheduled for August 9th, giving fans an opportunity to gather and sing BTS and K-pop songs before the show. Think about what that means. The concert has not even started, and ARMY are already singing. The members have not even walked onto the stage, and the city is already filled with their music. That is why Baltimore's story is so fascinating. The BTS experience is no longer contained inside the stadium. It has moved into the streets, into hotels, into restaurants, into fan gatherings, into conversations, into social media feeds, and eventually, into the memories of everyone who is lucky enough to be there. But there is another question. What will happen when the energy of Baltimore finally meets BTS themselves? Because fans can prepare everything. They can plan their outfits. They can prepare banners. They can charge their phones. They can buy merchandise. They can memorize the songs. But there is one thing nobody can completely prepare for. The moment BTS actually appears. Especially Jimin. For many fans, Jimin has a unique ability to create emotional moments without needing to say very much. Sometimes it is a smile. Sometimes it is a glance. Sometimes it is the way he reacts when the crowd becomes louder than expected. Sometimes it is simply the way he stands there and takes in the atmosphere. Those tiny moments can become unforgettable. And Baltimore could be the perfect environment for that kind of moment. Because after everything BTS has experienced, standing in front of thousands of American ARMY is not just another performance. It is a reminder of how far the group has traveled. Think about the journey. There was a time when BTS had to introduce themselves to international audiences. There was a time when many people outside Korea did not know their names. There was a time when performing in a major American stadium would have seemed almost impossible. And now, their name is on the schedule of M&T Bank Stadium. 2 nights. 2 opportunities. Thousands of people. Millions more watching from around the world. That transformation did not happen overnight. It was built year after year. Song after song. Performance after performance. And through every chapter, the members remained connected to their fans. That connection is perhaps one of the most important reasons why ARMY continued to show up. Not simply because BTS is famous, but because the music became personal. For one fan, a BTS song may be connected to a wedding. For another, it may be connected to a difficult year. For someone else, it may remind them of a friendship. That is why when thousands of people sing together, the sound becomes almost impossible to describe. It is not just music. It is thousands of personal stories being expressed at the same time. And Jimin will be standing in the middle of that emotion. But there is something we must remember. Social media is already filled with predictions about what might happen in Baltimore. Fans are discussing possible set lists. They are predicting interactions. They are imagining surprises. They are wondering whether certain songs might receive special reactions. And naturally, there are countless theories surrounding Jimin. But theories are still theories. Until something actually happens on stage, nobody can say for certain what the members will do. And perhaps that uncertainty is exactly what makes a live BTS concert so special. Because unlike a recorded video, a live concert cannot be completely predicted. Something can happen spontaneously. A member can say something unexpected. The crowd can react louder than anyone anticipated. A joke can turn into a viral moment. A small gesture can suddenly become the most discussed clip of the night. And sometimes, the most unforgettable moment is something nobody planned. That is what Baltimore is waiting for. Not simply a perfect performance. A real moment. A human moment. A moment that cannot be recreated exactly the same way twice. And when we look at the timing of this Baltimore stop, the anticipation becomes even more interesting. The Baltimore shows follow major American stadium performances earlier in the tour, including shows at MetLife Stadium and Gillette Stadium. That means BTS arrives in Baltimore already carrying the momentum of a huge North American run. ARMY have already shown the world what they can do. The crowds have been enormous. The emotions have been intense. The performances have created countless conversations online. So now the question becomes, can Baltimore create something even more unforgettable? Could this city produce a moment that surprises even BTS? Could the reaction from ARMY become so powerful that it becomes one of the defining memories of the tour? Nobody knows. And that is exactly why people are watching. Because when the doors open at M&T Bank Stadium, thousands of fans will begin moving toward their seats. Some will be nervous. Some will be crying before the show even starts. Some will be laughing with friends. Some will be holding banners. Some may simply stand quietly, trying to understand that this is finally real. After years of listening to BTS through headphones, they are about to hear them live. After watching Jimin through a screen, they may finally see him standing on the other side of the stage. And that distance between a screen and a real-life moment can feel enormous. Then the countdown begins. 10, 9, 8. The screams grow louder. 7, 6. The stadium begins shaking. 5, 4. Phones go into the air. 3, 2, 1. Blackout. And suddenly, the entire stadium becomes one enormous heartbeat. That is the moment we have been talking about. The moment Baltimore stops being a city waiting for BTS and becomes part of the BTS story. But what happens next? Will Jimin smile? Will he become emotional? Will the members surprise each other? Will ARMY create a moment so loud that it becomes impossible for the members to ignore? And could there be one unexpected interaction that dominates social media after the show? We cannot know until it happens. But perhaps that is the beauty of being an ARMY. You wait. You wonder. You imagine. And then, when the moment finally arrives, you experience it together. So if you could be inside M&T Bank Stadium tonight, surrounded by thousands of ARMY, with the lights turned off and BTS about to appear, what would you want to hear first? And if Jimin suddenly looked toward your section, would you be able to hold back your tears? Tell us in the comments. Would you scream? Would you cry? Would you simply freeze? Or would you try to capture the moment on your phone? Let us know.